Okay, everybody, in this lab, we're going to work with lighting and shadows to put somebody, namely this subject woman, into a different picture. And the lighting is really different in the separate picture, so we're going to put her in this scene and we're going to make it look as realistic as possible so that you can get ready to do your fantasy composite lab or fantasy composite project. All right, so the first thing we want to do is select this woman, okay? And I've tried a few different things. The hair can be kind of an issue. So I'm going to use the object selection tool. Choose her. Actually, what works best is if you draw a box around her. Sorry, like that. And then the computer thinks for a minute. And it selects her. What I was looking for is her hair has this fringy stuff up top here. We are actually missing a little bit of it if you look. Here's some hair. If we wanted to do a magic lasso, notice right here I'm adding to selection, so I could do something like this, right? Because that's a clump of hair that isn't really selected. It'd come back here, so it adds that to the selection. I think there's some empty space up there, but I think in some ways it's better to get too much and erase it later than to not have it. Okay, so I'm going to do another little patch here with the magnetic lasso. Come back around so we get that hair too. And, you know, I could kind of keep going with this. Let's see. Because we don't want to, it looks weird when people don't come with their hair, right? So I'm coming around, adding, since it's set to add, it's adding all that stuff. Okay, and now we definitely do have like a section here that we don't want. So I'm going to select, I'm going to do the subtraction method up here. And I'm going to pick like this section because that's obviously the background. All right, so I'm just kind of cleaning up my selection as much as I can. And then I might subtract a little here. It should be easy, but her hair is really the thing that's giving us the trouble if you get it. But hair is the thing we notice in Photoshop if it's not right. And then I actually think we should add some of this now that I'm looking at it. I don't want to take too much of this this lab with this particular problem, but just you should know that it presents a challenge. All right, we'll keep it there for now. All right, so I'm going to, oh, wait, look at the left side of her hair. It's not even there at all. Oh, boy. Okay, so we're still on adding to the selection, so I'm going to do this, right? And then I'm going to go around because that part's already selected, so we'll add that. All right, that's good enough for now. So I'm going to go ahead and copy, Command C. I'm going to just paste her into this background image. So Command V, right? There she is. And I think we got some weird stuff off to the side here. Let's see. So the first thing we want to do is perspective-wise take a look at, actually I'm going to undo that because I guess those plants are, okay, never mind. We're looking at the size of people here, right? So if she is going to be kind of in front of him, we will make her smaller. Let me see, Command click. All right, so we're just going to make her like this big, okay? So if you notice, like on this photo, the lighting is coming from this side, right? So let's just rotate her a little bit so that she's facing more into the light. I'm going to shrink her down just a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and accept this for now, so she's there, right? All right, she looks like she's just been photoshopped in there, but it's okay. Because we're going to keep going. All right. So we are going to click here, and then we're in the layers panel where my mouse is. I'm going to command click on the thumbnail for the layer mask. Oh, actually, wait. Hold on. Yeah, command click there. Okay, so what this does is it makes a selection of her again. Then I'm going to make a new layer right down at the bottom here. And then I'm going to come down to this new layer, and I'm going to fill the selection with black. So I need to choose black as my background color. I don't know why I'm having the eyedropper selected, and I don't seem to be able to get out of it. It's weird. Oh, it's because my color picker's off screen here. That's what it was. Sorry about that. So I'm choosing black, right? And then if I, this is a key command. You can go up to edit and then fill, and then you can do contents black. Okay. Contents black. All right. Or you can do option delete. So I'm going to do option delete. Okay. And hold on a sec. Actually, that's what I wanted to do. This new layer is where I wanted to do that. So this is going to be the shadow layer. I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to label it shadows. And now with this layer, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fill in the selection black. So I should be able to hit option delete here. And it's the black version of her is underneath the regular version. So if I turn off this, you can see that there's a black version, and that's what we're going to use to create the shadow. Okay, so the thing to remember to do is to create the new layer, place it underneath the subject layer. So let's call her model, I guess, and then underneath that is the shadow. Okay, so now we're going to deselect her. Okay, and we're going to actually do Command T for transform. And then we right click and we have these like different options. And we're actually, let's see. I actually want to be on the shadow layer when I do this. So make sure that only the shadow layer is selected. We're going to right click. Okay, everybody, the problem I was having is I had the move tool selected, and so I wasn't getting the right shortcut menu here. What I just need to do is make sure the layer that I want to transform is selected in the layers panel. Then I hit Command T for transform, okay? And then I get the shortcut menu that I'm looking for because I want to distort the shadow, which is currently hiding beneath her. But you know, that's what shadows do. And you can see that I've like full screened my computer here too. So what I'm going to do is, if you notice this guy here, his shadow is about 2.5 times as tall as he is because the sun is so far down toward the horizon. So we're going to start, when we distort this, by doing something similar. So we're going to go almost straight out to the side because we're looking at the directionality of these shadows. I'm going to actually zoom out so I can see, because I'm going to make her shadow about the same, right? And then I'm going to do this to the other part, right? So that it sort of matches the dimensions of the other shadow, okay? And then I'm just going to keep that for now. Okay, so that's my new shadow. Yes, it's very black. If I go over to my opacity over here, I'm going to turn this down to about 40 or so, 49, 50. Sorry, because that looks, actually his is a little darker, but it's okay. We'll be okay for now. And one of the things I could do is I could go in here and paint what's called a point of contact shadow. But first I'm looking at this purple stuff because that's right where I want my point of contact shadow to be. So I'm zooming in here. I am, let's see, I am switching my color to black, and I'm creating a layer mask in the layers panel. Okay. And then I'm making sure the layer mask is selected. So when the layer mask is selected, and black is the color, black conceals and white reveals. So I'm going to go in and just kind of like paint over this, and which reveals the layer underneath. Okay. If you remember from our exercises before also, the eraser tool would do the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna get that like little spot right here. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to click on the shadow area here. I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to call it like painted point of contact shadow. Okay, so we've got our shadow we used from the other distorting method before, and now we're going to paint on another shadow for the point of contact shadow. So I'm going to go here. It's going to be black. It's going to look, actually, let's kind of start underneath. Since the light's coming from the left-hand side, we wouldn't see a shadow. We wouldn't see a shadow to the left of her foot. Okay, and I'm going to come and have it meet this shadow. Okay, this is going to get... sorry, my computer went crazy, so I had to restart. I want to make sure the point of contact shadow layer is selected. I'm using my brush. It's black is the color, right? Just checking all this stuff. So with this, since the light is coming from this side, I think that we can skip some steps. I'm just gonna paint some black like here. If I click once and then I hold down Shift, I get a straight line there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing like here, because I'm gonna assume that the light's coming from this direction, and it's gonna fill in this area because of her dress. Okay, so now I'm going to make the brush a lot bigger. And I'm gonna paint in this area here, which is definitely not gonna be perfect because I need to keep this video moving. So we'll do this, and we'll do this, and we'll do this, right? You can do a better job. Okay. And it actually probably will look better if it's not perfect, because shadows, there's a lot of complicated things that create shadows, right? So I'm going to make this point of contact area here, right? Okay, and so then we're going to zoom back out a bit, and we're going to try to match the opacity here, okay? So I'm taking down the opacity in the layers panel once again to about 40. Okay, so now if we, if we zoom back out entirely here, oops, it looks like her feet are making the shadows, right? So that looks a little bit better. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do on the shadow for now is we're going to click on the shadow and the point of we're going to make the point of contact and the shadow into a smart object. Okay, so they're both selected. We're going to do convert to smart object. Now they're one shadow kind of point of contact and shadow. We're going to put a blur on it actually. So I'm going to go up to filters, and I'm going to do blur gallery, and I'm going to do iris blur. And then when I do iris blur, this iris wheel comes up. So I'm going to actually squash it down. Squash it down. I think I can move the center down here, so I'm just blurring the shadow itself. And then I'm actually going to bring these points in. Actually, let's see, these should go to the edge, but I think these should come in. And then we're gonna turn the blur up. If you look up to the right where I'm here, so that's getting blurrier, right? That's sharp, and then that's blurrier. I'm gonna go somewhere around here, okay? And then I'm going to click OK. So now our shadow is blurry. Give it a second to process that. If I turn off the blur, this is what it looked like before, right? A little too sharp. And now I can turn the blur back on, and it's blurrier, so I think that's a lot better. We could probably increase blur around here, but I'm just not going to worry about it right now. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust her color. Okay, and to do that, we're going to select the background layer here. We're going to do Command J, which creates a copy. We're going to drag that all the way up to the top, okay, so that it's at the top layer. And then we are going to option click on the line separating the layer here. Mouse pointer go. Option click here, so that makes a clipping mask. Yeah, I think that does it. And then what we want to do is create a Gaussian blur. So we're going to filter and we're going to do Gaussian blur. And there you can see she appears there. So now we are going to, where's our blur? Actually, let's see here. Oh, sorry, my window is hiding. Gaussian blur. We're going to make it like around 200 pixels, okay? And then we're going to hit OK, and then we're going to change the blend mode to color, okay? And now we have this kind of decolorized version of her on top. So we're going to go ahead and reduce the opacity of that layer on the layers panel over here to like 40 or so. Okay, so it's blending the color mode of the foreground with the background. And if we can do the before and after for this, right? She's a little bit too saturated and colorful in this one, and then now she's a little more like the scene itself. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna check the brightness because it looks a little bit off here, and just follow me on this. This is an interesting thing that we can do. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a solid color adjustment layer that's gray. Okay, so it just looks gray. We're gonna change the blend mode to color. Okay, so we're just not looking at color here, right? Now we're gonna create a curves adjustment layer. Right, and we are going to darken the image a little bit to match the background. Okay, so actually we need to make a clipping mask out of this too. Sorry, this should go down here, and it should be a clipping mask so that it's only darkening her. Okay, so darken her a little bit, right? So that she matches the background, like that. Okay, and then if we zoom in, we can tell that like her hair is still, like her hair is much darker than even the shadow areas of the image. So we're gonna actually raise the shadow areas up by going back over here to the curves, and I'm actually gonna lift this up a little so her hair looks a little more like gray, like the shadow areas of the actual image bin behind. Okay, and so now we're gonna zoom out. We no longer need this adjustment layer here. I'm going to drag it into the trash. Okay, and there's our image. This looks pretty good. We could have spent more time to make it look better. Some of the layer masking around here needs some work. I think if I could just go in here, right? And actually, we need to replace her hair. I'm not going to do that right now. But you can see that the lighting and the color and the brightness look pretty good. Okay, so we'll stop there for today.